My name is Leota Arbor. I'm 39 years old and I live alone in a 4-bedroom house in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a civil engineer at a mid-sized construction firm, been there 15 years, and everything I have, this house, my stability, my peace, I built it myself. Long hours, overtime, certifications that kept me up at night. Nobody handed me anything. My younger sister, Tiana, is 5 years younger. She's 34. Growing up, we were inseparable. I walked her to school, helped her with homework, covered for her when she snuck out to see boys. I loved her like she was my own child. And that's why what happened between us didn't feel sudden. It felt like something that had been quietly growing for years, something I didn't want to name. Tiana got married young to her boyfriend Marcus. They had 3 kids back to back, DJ, Kenya, and little Leota Jr. They named her after me. I loved those kids more than anything. But love doesn't erase choices, and they made a lot of choices without stability to back them up. Jobs came and went, money was always tight, and slowly, without anyone saying it out loud, I became the solution. At first it was small. Leota, DJ needs cleats. Can you send $80? Of course I could. Then it was the light bill, then car insurance, then Kenya needed glasses. Then Leota Jr. had an asthma attack, and the ER bill was $300. Every single time I said yes, because what kind of aunt lets kids go without? But what nobody tells you about always saying yes is that people stop seeing it as love. They start seeing it as your responsibility, and the moment you hesitate, you become the problem. I didn't notice when it shifted. It crept in slowly, until one night I sat down with my bank app and actually added everything up. Over 6 years, I had given Tiana nearly $75,000. I remember staring at the screen, feeling sick. That wasn't just money. That was time, opportunity, a different version of my life. A life where maybe I had a husband by now, maybe kids, maybe something of my own. Instead, I spent my 30s working 60-hour weeks and funding someone else's household. I dated here and there. Recently, I met someone, Daniel. He's steady, patient, the kind of man who doesn't rush you but doesn't disappear either. But every time things started to feel real, my phone would buzz. And it was always Tiana, always something urgent. And I would drop everything, because that's who I had trained myself to be. My best friend Lena used to tell me, Leota, you're raising your sister's family instead of building your own. I used to laugh it off, but deep down, I knew she was right. Then came the dinner. Last November, right before Thanksgiving, Tiana called, said she wanted to bring the kids over. I said yes. I always said yes. I cooked everything. Baked chicken, mac and cheese, greens, cornbread, even bought a cake because little Leota Jr. had just won a reading award. The house filled with noise when they arrived. Kids running, laughing. That part felt normal, safe. But Tiana was quiet. Too quiet. She sat at my kitchen table, made herself a plate, and just looked around my house like she was measuring something. Then she said, "Must be nice." I laughed lightly. "It is. I worked hard for it." She didn't smile. "4 bedrooms, Leota, for just you?" Something in my chest tightened. I tried to brush it off, change the subject, but she didn't let it go. Meanwhile, I've got 3 kids sharing 2 rooms in a place where the AC barely works. It wasn't concern. It wasn't even frustration. It was accusation, like my comfort was something I owed her. I set my fork down slowly. "Tiana, I bought this house with my money. I don't have to explain that." She sucked her teeth, loud, sharp, then leaned forward. "If you were really family, you'd let us move in." There it was, not a question, not even a request, a conclusion she had already decided on. I looked at her, really looked this time, and something inside me settled into place. A quiet clarity I hadn't felt in years. I smiled. Not warmly, not kindly, just final. "That's not happening." She blinked like she didn't understand the words. "What?" I said, "No, you're not moving in." The air in the room shifted instantly. She stood up so fast her chair scraped against the floor, loud enough for the kids and Marcus to hear. "Wow, so you're really that selfish? Sitting in this big house alone while your own blood is struggling?" I didn't argue, didn't raise my voice. I just stood up and started clearing plates, one by one, like the conversation was already over. But inside, something was breaking loose. Not anger, not even hurt. Just exhaustion, finally turning into something solid. Because this wasn't about that night. This was years. Years of saying yes. Years of being the safety net, the backup plan, the quiet provider, while they made choices and I absorbed the consequences. They left without saying goodbye, didn't even let the kids finish their cake. And when the door closed, the house went quiet again. Too quiet. I stood there in my kitchen, holding a plate I didn't remember picking up, and realized something I hadn't let myself admit before. I was done. Not tired, not frustrated, done. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about what they needed next. I wasn't calculating what I could send, what I could fix, what I could sacrifice. I was just standing there in my own house, in my own silence, and choosing myself. And just like that, the bank closed. 3 days later, my phone lit up with a text from Tiana. Not an apology, not even a conversation. Me and Marcus talked. We think it's fair if the kids stay with you during the week for school. You're not using those rooms anyway. I read it twice, then a third time. Not can they? Not would you consider? They had already decided about my house, my space, my life. I didn't respond. Not that day. Not the next. And I'll be honest, the silence felt powerful. For the first time in 7 years, I wasn't scrambling to fix something that wasn't mine to fix. I wasn't sending money late at night so their lights wouldn't get cut off. I wasn't rearranging my life around their emergencies. I just sat in my living room, drank my coffee, and let my phone buzz. And that drove Tiana crazy. 6 missed calls in 2 days, 3 voicemails. The first one was calm. Leota, just call me back. We need to talk. The second one, that was the real her. So you just ignoring me now, after everything? Wow, okay, I see you. Lena told me not to answer. The second you respond, she'll find a way back in. Just hold the line. So I did. And then she escalated. I was in a project meeting, conference room, blueprints spread across the table, 5 people talking timelines, when my coworker Evan knocked on the glass and mouthed, "Your sister's downstairs." My stomach dropped. I excused myself and walked to the lobby, already knowing this wasn't going to be quiet. And I was right. Tiana was standing near the front desk, holding little Leota Jr. on her hip. The child looked tired, confused. And Tiana, she looked exactly how she wanted to be seen, stressed, overwhelmed, on the edge. The moment she saw me, she raised her voice just enough. I just need 5 minutes with my sister. She won't answer my calls and my kids are struggling. There it was. A performance. For the receptionist, for the security guard, for anyone within earshot. For a split second, it almost worked. Because little Leota Jr. looked at me with those big eyes and said softly, "Hi, Auntie." And my chest tightened. But I didn't fold. I walked up, calm, steady. Come outside. We stepped into the parking lot. I sat on the edge of a concrete bench, facing her directly. "Tiana, you cannot show up at my job like this, ever." Her eyes filled with tears. Real or not, I couldn't tell anymore. "You act like you're better than me." "I don't think I'm better than you. I think I'm tired." "Tired of what? Helping your own sister?" I shook my head slowly. "Tired of being used. There's a difference." She wiped her face, then pivoted fast, like she always did. "Fine, then just co-sign a car for me. I need something reliable for the kids." I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the audacity had reached a point where it didn't even surprise me anymore. "You want me to co-sign? You know my situation." "Exactly. That's why the answer is no." Her expression hardened. "You always judging me." "No, I'm finally seeing things clearly." She went quiet for a second, then hit me with one last push. "So that's it? You just cutting me off?" I looked at her, really looked this time. Past the tears, past the performance, past the version of her I had been protecting for years. "I love you, but yes, the ATM is closed." The words landed heavy. She stared at me like I had slapped her. Then her voice dropped, low and sharp. "You're going to regret this." Then she turned and walked away. That was Wednesday. By Friday, I understood exactly what she meant. She called our mother. Now my mother, Gloria, lives in Decatur. Retired, quiet, the kind of woman who avoids drama like it's contagious. But Tiana knew exactly how to reach her. Tears, guilt, grandkids. Saturday morning, my phone rang. "Leota, what's going on?" Her voice was soft, but there was something underneath it. Concern. Confusion. "Tiana says you abandoned her." I closed my eyes for a second. Then I told her everything. The years of money, the $75,000, the constant requests, the dinner, the demand to move in, the scene at my job. There was a long pause on the other end. Then she said quietly, 75,000? Give or take. Another pause, longer this time. "I'm calling your sister." She hung up. I didn't hear from her for the rest of the day. But later that evening, my aunt called me. "Hey, your mama just tore into Tiana." Apparently, my mother didn't yell. She didn't need to. Her voice was calm, cold, final. She told Tiana she should be ashamed, that $75,000 was more than our father made in 2 years, that I had spent my 30s supporting a household that wasn't mine. Then she said something that stuck with me. Your sister doesn't have a husband or children. You ever wonder why? Maybe because she was too busy taking care of yours. Silence on Tiana's end. Then my mother told her, you and Marcus need full-time jobs, both of you. No more excuses. And just like that, the story shifted. Tiana went quiet, completely quiet. No calls, no texts, nothing. A whole month passed. And for the first time in years, my life felt like mine again. I went to the gym, repainted my bathroom, put money back into my savings without hesitation. And Daniel didn't disappear. He stayed. We went on real dates, conversations that didn't get interrupted by emergencies that weren't mine. And slowly, something unfamiliar started to grow. Peace. Then one evening, I came home and found an envelope taped to my door. No name on the front, but I already knew who it was from. And when I opened it, everything shifted again. I stood there on my porch, keys still in my hand, staring at the envelope, like it might disappear if I blinked. Inside was a single sheet of paper, handwritten. Not Tiana's handwriting. It was Marcus. Leota, I heard what your mom said about the $75,000. We never added it up because we didn't want to face it. I got a full-time job at a warehouse. Tiana just started working at a daycare. We were wrong. I'm sorry we took advantage of you. You didn't deserve that. Marcus. I read it twice. Then I sat down on the porch steps and just let it hit me. Not the apology. The acknowledgement. For the first time in years, someone said it out loud. Not dressed up, not minimized, not followed by another request, just the truth. And it broke something open in me. Not anger, not even sadness. Relief. 3 weeks later, my mom called. They're both working now, she said. Full-time. I didn't respond right away. I didn't know how to feel about it. Part of me wanted to believe it meant something. Another part of me was still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Another month passed. Then Tiana texted, "What? Can we talk? Not about money. Just talk." I stared at the message for a long time. A year ago, I would have answered in seconds. Dropped everything. Made space. This time, I didn't rush. I let it sit for a day. Then I replied, "Sunday, my place, just you." She showed up and sat in her car for 5 minutes before coming inside. I watched her through the window, hands on the steering wheel, head down, like she was rehearsing something, or maybe trying to find the courage to walk into a space where she no longer had control. When she finally came in, she looked different, quieter, smaller somehow. Not physically, just stripped of something. I made coffee, set a mug in front of her, and sat across the table. The same table. But everything felt different. She didn't look around this time, didn't measure, didn't compare. She just stared into her cup. "I don't know how to start," she said. "Start with the truth." Her fingers tightened around the mug. "I've been a terrible sister to you." I didn't interrupt, didn't soften it, because she was right. When Mom said $75,000, I felt sick, she continued. Every time I asked you for something, I told myself it was small. Just this once. Just until we got back on our feet. I never added it up because I didn't want to see what I was doing to you. Her voice cracked. And when she said you don't have your own family, that you spent your life helping us instead of building your own, she swallowed hard. It was like someone turned the lights on. I sat there, listening, but not rushing to comfort her. Not this time. I told myself you were just lucky, she said. Big house, good job. I never thought about what it cost you. Silence settled between us. Heavy, honest. I finally spoke. "Tiana, I wanted a family." She looked up at me, eyes already wet. I wanted a husband, kids, something of my own. But every time I got close, you needed something, and I chose you, over and over again, until there wasn't much left of me to give. Tears slid down her face. "I'm sorry, Leota." I nodded slowly. "I believe you." She exhaled, like she'd been holding that breath for years. "But sorry doesn't give me back my time," I added quietly, "and it doesn't erase what happened." Her shoulders dropped. "I know. I accept your apology," I said. "But forgiveness, that's going to take time. I need to see that things are actually different." She nodded. No argument, no defense. Just acceptance. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. Inside was a check. $600. On the memo line, it said, "First payment." I stared at it for a second. It wasn't about the amount. It was about what it meant. For the first time, she wasn't asking. She was giving something back. "We made a budget," she said quietly. "We're going to pay you back. even if it takes years. I folded the check slowly. Thank you. Then, after a beat, I added, the towel rack in the guest bathroom broke last week. That's $45. I'm adding it to your tab. She blinked, then laughed. A real laugh. And for the first time in a long time, I laughed too. Not because everything was fixed, but because something had finally shifted. Christmas that year was quiet. No tension, no speeches, no pretending everything was perfect. Just small moments. The kids running around, my mom in the kitchen, Tiana helping without being asked, Marcus talking about work like it actually mattered to him now. After dinner, while we were taking out the trash, Tiana nudged me lightly. You still can't wrap presents, she said. I nudged her back. You still make bad financial decisions. She smiled, but this time, it didn't carry the same weight. I've been at the daycare 4 months, she said, trying to make it a year. Good, I replied. Keep going. 5 months have passed since then. She's still working, so is Marcus. I've gotten 4 more checks. Same amount, always on time. We text now, normal things. She sends me videos of the kids. I send her recipes. We're not fully healed. I still get angry sometimes. Still wonder what my life could have looked like if I had chosen myself sooner. But I've learned something. Saying no to someone you love isn't cruelty. Sometimes it's the only thing that saves the relationship. Because as long as I kept saying yes, she had no reason to change. My no forced the truth into the open. And maybe, just maybe, it gave both of us a chance to finally grow. I'm still in my 4-bedroom house. Still single, but not empty anymore. Daniel's still here. And for the first time in years, I'm building something that actually belongs to me.